What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having a great day. You know what, let's just jump right into it. It's 2025, a new year, and I wanted to jump into movie content a little bit. I am a film major working to be a writer slash director in the future, just a filmmaker in general, which is why I mostly create content on YouTube for you guys. And just to add on to it, I feel like there's a lot of good movies coming out this year for 2025. I did do a video similar to this at the beginning of last year, calling it the greatest movies of 2023. I pretty much rated movies into different categories from 2023 and put them all into like my top 10 list. I didn't end up doing that this year because mostly there were a lot of movies that I just didn't watch for 2024. Most of them came out during December and I just didn't have time to go to the theater to watch it, so I unfortunately missed out on that video. But for this video, we're going to be naming my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025. Now, before I begin, there are a few honorable mentions that I wanted to put on the list at first, but unfortunately didn't make the cut. I'm still looking forward to seeing those movies this year, but they just didn't make the top 10 list. So starting with Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up, I'm just looking forward to finally getting a Looney Tunes movie in theaters again. Since Space Jam Legacy, I'm a big fan of Looney Tunes characters. I grew up with those characters, and well, I love them to this very day. I'm just a big fan of classic cartoon characters that I grew up watching. On top of that, you're giving me a movie starring Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, my favorite iconic duo from the Looney Tunes. I mean, put some respect on Daffy Duck's name. Go watch this movie, and don't you dare tell me that you're not watching it because Bugs Bunny's not in it. You know what am I saying? He might actually still be in it. You know, Bugs Bunny makes an appearance everywhere. From the John Wick universe is Ballerina. I mean, this is definitely interesting for me. I wasn't a big fan of the Continental Peacock show, but you put Ana de Armas in a revenge story following the world of John Wick. I mean, I'm hooked. And that trailer was definitely the one that hooked me as well. I am also definitely interested to see where this falls in the John Wick universe. Is it before or after John Wick 4? Up next is 28 Years Later. I was not expecting this. I was baffled when this was announced. And well, when that first trailer came out, it had me hooked for a second. I'm willing to check out what they're going to cook with the story because I've seen 28 Days Later. I've seen 28 Weeks Later. So I'm willing to find out what has happened over the years and what new challenges are there to expect in this movie. Up next is a Pixar film named Elio. I'll be completely honest and say Pixar has been cooking lately. However, I feel there's still a buzz in the air of Pixar fatigue, and this unfortunately just didn't make the cut of top 10 movies that I was looking forward to. But I'm still willing to check it out. I'm a sucker for Pixar, so I'm gonna end up watching it anyways. And my last honorable mention will be Wicked for Good. Now, I'll be completely honest, I am not someone who is fond of musicals whatsoever, but Wicked Part 1 was one of the movies I was able to watch during 2024's run. I was impressed. I mean, the action, the score, some of the songs were actually very catchy. The character dynamic between Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I'm one who has never seen the play whatsoever, and this first part, to find out that this is only Act 1 of the play, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. But now we move on to the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025 for me. Now, a couple people might be mad at me because they were mad at me when I first put this in the 2023 list, but yeah, number 10, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I don't care what you say, I am so hyped for this movie because I've seen behind the scenes photos and I'm just so excited for them to finally adapt the second game. I mean, fair, it's telling a new story, but it's still gonna indicate some of that lore that we know as Five Nights at Freddy's fans, and you know, I'm excited. That's all I have to say. At number 9 was an announcement I caught by surprise last year in 2024, Until Dawn. I was not expecting this movie to get made whatsoever, but I feel like we're at a point now where video game adaptations are just the new thing, and well, studios are making money from them, so I don't blame them. Until Dawn is one of my favorite horror games, and for it to be adapted this year, and for it to release on my birthday, April 25th, I mean, count me in. I'm going to go see it day one. And I'm also curious to see where they take the story because, I mean, if you don't know, Until Dawn is a choice game where players can kind of choose the outcome of the characters they play as, and since we're watching a movie this time, they're the ones that actually have to create the story for us to watch. So I'm very interested to where they take that. Coming at number 8, I have the Karate Kid Legends. I am a huge Karate Kid fan. I have watched the original trilogy. I have watched the 2010 reboot with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, which I do love to this very day. And to have this movie star both Ralph Macchio, the original Karate Kid, with Jackie Chan as Mr. Han from the 2010 reboot, I'm excited to see this universe turn into one and see what they can do with the new Karate Kid, Ben Wong. At number 7 is where it starts getting interesting because there has not been a trailer for this movie whatsoever, just like Until Dawn. It's just a couple details that have been released, but still had me excited. And I'm talking about Predator Badlands. When Prey released in 2022, I loved that movie so much. I thought the Predator was captured in such a significant way that I haven't seen in so long since I watched the original Predator movie. And I'll admit, hearing the details about this new movie Badlands was kind of intriguing, but just not that much to have me looking forward to it. But recently some new details dropped that's saying this movie will actually be told in the perspective of the Predator. And I'll be honest, that sounds interesting. I want to see that. So count me hooked for this movie. All I need is that first trailer drop and I'll be hooked completely. At number 6, I have the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Disney has been making left and right with live action movies and they've been hit or miss for me. So I just want to say DreamWorks has a chance to finally give me hope on these live action remakes. I will say at first that I didn't think 3D animation was necessary to adapt into live action, but with what we have going into this film so far, the original director coming back from the animated movie, the casting for Hiccup, the casting for his dad, and if that wasn't enough, that first trailer, all I needed was the first look of how Toothless looked in live action, and wow, I'm in because this trailer looked fantastic and I'm genuinely excited for what they're gonna make here. The only thing I hope is that it's not a shot-by-shot remake. I hope they add new elements to it. A part of me also thinks that if this movie does well and is good, then they can possibly adapt the second movie, and that is my favorite out of the How to Train Your Dragon movies because all I can think about is them adapting that big giant ice dragon into live action. How amazing would that look? Okay, moving on to number 5, I have The Smashing Machine. This is a movie produced by A24 and it's gonna star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I know that name already turns a lot of heads, I know it does for me too, but this movie actually interests me because it's gonna be a biopic on the former MMA star and former wrestler Mark Kerr. And I want to say a big reason why I'm so into this movie is because I love biopics on fighters in general, and A24 I feel is a studio that will deliver a story outside of Mark Kerr's fighting life and into his personal life, kind of like what they did with the Iron Claw. And it seems like they're taking this movie very seriously because if you haven't seen the first look photo, they made The Rock look so unrecognizable. Makeup is just insane. I am definitely excited for this one. But on the topic of biopics, at number 4 I have Michael, which is a biopic on the famous pop singer known as Michael Jackson. Now this movie will be starring Michael Jackson's nephew Jafar Jackson, who I actually found out recently does make music in real life, and it's not that bad, you should check it out. However, there are some concerns that recently come to my attention. It really just depends whether Jafar Jackson can act. Because for those of you who don't know, Jafar Jackson hasn't been in any film projects whatsoever, and this does raise a concern because if the studio is depending on Michael Jackson's family tree here, it might not be the best bet and they're probably taking a risk. However, if they got that far into filming, maybe there's not really much to worry about, but who can tell. Now it's time for my big 3. These are my top 3 movies that I've been looking forward to. Number 3 is Superman. Now for the past year, I've been cautiously excited about James Gunn's new DCU and what they're gonna do with the DC universe, how they're gonna handle Matt Reeves as the Batman, how they're gonna handle Joker. Well, I mean, Joker's done for, let's be honest, but yeah, how are they gonna handle all these other DC not included universe movies into their own universe? And well, from all the details that we gathered, all the information we gathered, we can say that for another video. Now we hit a point where I am nothing but pure excited for this new Superman movie. And I'll be honest guys, I am someone who was not fond of Superman as a comic book character because I always saw him as overrated or the classic cliche superhero. When you have me this excited for a Superman movie, you're doing something right, James Gunn. You're doing something right. You are giving me hope, and that's what Superman stands for. Yeah, just because I wasn't fond of his character doesn't mean I don't know about him, right? But I do have to say there come some concerns because, I mean, if this movie flops, they're probably not going to make DC movies for a while now, and we gotten a few projects that have been greenlit that I do want to see happen. And even if this movie doesn't do well, I still want to see what James Gunn is willing to cook with those other projects. So yeah, James Gunn, count me in for your Superman movie, man. Do good. Show them what you got, please. Moving on, number 2 is a movie I've been looking forward to for 4 years, well now 5 years, because I think it was announced during the pandemic. It's Fantastic Four: First Steps. The cast has already been announced, filming is done, it's finally gonna be released. There's not a trailer yet unfortunately, but I feel like we're gonna get one soon, possibly in February. I will be there to react to it, and we're gonna deliver a thoughts and theories video just like we did in the past. We are going to be all over this movie because the Fantastic Four holds a special place in my heart as comic book characters. One of my favorite comic book series to read was the Fantastic Four, and I will say the information gathered from this movie has been delivering nothing but positive feedback. You have the star power, you have this movie taking in a separate universe from the MCU. Although still connected, it's still telling its own separate story. That way it will be a standalone project where we don't have to focus on other heroes in the MCU, which just makes me more and more excited for the Fantastic Four and what they could possibly cook with this movie. Moving on to my number one pick, the movie I'm most looking forward to this year, and that's Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors of all time. I feel like every project he's attached to just amazes me, especially if he's writing and directing it, because he knows how to deliver an emotional, beautiful story. And to hear he's making a movie on my favorite classic Universal monster, Frankenstein, not just Frankenstein, including the Bride as well, because Mia Goth is set to play the Bride, Oscar Isaac set to play Dr. Frankenstein, and Jacob Elordi is set to play the monster. I'm hyped. It has the star power, it has the writer, it has the director. This movie I feel is just going to be fantastic. I just need that first trailer to drop. I need an October release date. Because, and yeah, if you're not aware, this movie doesn't have a release date. It could still possibly be delayed to next year, but I have hope that it will come out this year. I'm just so excited to see Guillermo del Toro's direction on where he takes this Frankenstein story. But with that being said, which one was your favorite out of the top 10 list? And if you want, leave in the comment section below your most anticipated movies for 2025. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all in the next video.
Hey, are you okay?